Hey guys, it's Brant and I'm back with another Kiss album review video. And today I'm going to be reviewing Kiss's Sonic Boom release. This is their 19th studio album release overall. So let's talk about Sonic Boom. Let's get right into it. Sonic Boom was produced by Paul Stanley and co-produced by Greg Collins, and it was recorded at Conway Studios in Hollywood, California. The album was recorded from May to August of 2009 and was released on October 6th of 2009 on the Kiss Roadrunner label. Now, as I said earlier, this is their 19th studio album. It's also their 64th release overall, including compilation albums, box sets, live albums, solo albums, anything that Universal basically had thrown out. And this was their first studio recording in 11 years since Psycho Circus. This was also the first recording to feature the current lineup of the band that includes Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer. The album was marketed and distributed by Walmart, and it was a Walmart exclusive, and it was during a huge promotion time that Walmart was doing for the album. And they released it on this 3-disc CD pack here that's got the discs, and I'm actually missing one of my discs. You got the album here, and then this is a CD that's live in Buenos Aires, and I'm actually missing the Kiss Classics. It's around here somewhere, but I'm missing it right now. It's probably in a CD player somewhere. And also it had this booklet that was on the inside here that looked like this. And this is the version that most people got, because the only other way that they released this was they released it as a digipack that had a 20-page booklet with it. Now, I'm not sure if it's the same as this booklet is, but, and that's a nice shot in the middle there, in the center. And they also released it on vinyl, and they released it in 5 colors. They released it, of course, in red, purple, green, and blue, and black. And they only pressed 1,000 copies each. So those are very highly collected. And if you find them online somewhere for sale on Discogs or in some Kiss vinyl trading group or whatever you might find on Facebook, you're going to expect to pay $300 to $450 to $500 for one of those. The album spawned 3 singles: Modern Day Delilah, that was released on August 19th before the album was released. The second song that was released was Say Yeah, that was released shortly after the album was released. And then there was Never Enough, that was released as the 3rd single in 2010. And the album, when it was released to generally positive reviews, and this album debuted at position number 2 on the Billboard's Top 200, and that is the most highest Kiss debuting album since, well, ever, because it beat out Sonic Boom, which debuted at number 3. And this album spent about 12 weeks on the chart. The album sold 108,000 copies the first week it was released, and it finished out the 2010 year with about 238,000 units sold. It was also included in the 2010 list of Billboard's top 50 rock albums. The album has never been certified by the RIAA, but as of currently, it's believed that this album has sold about 350,000 copies. Now, all the guys in the band all play on this album. Paul, Gene, Tommy, Eric, they all play on the album. There's only one outside musician, Brian Whalen, and all 11 tracks on the album are written by members of the band with no outside writers. And Tommy and Eric both have a lead vocal track on this album. So since we've already talked about the packaging, let's go ahead and get right into the tracks. Let's get into track number 1, Modern Day Delilah. Now, this was wrote by Paul, sang by Paul, and Paul basically said the same of this song as basically the whole album, that they tried to write the songs based around riffs, and they tried to record the songs in as little takes as possible because they were trying to keep the sound of the album honest. And Paul even said that Eric had voiced concerns that when they got into being 7, 8, and 9 takes, that it started losing feeling and emotion. So they tried to keep the takes as little as possible. Now, what do I think about Modern Day Delilah? I think it's a good song. I think it's a great way to start the album off. It's the single. It's the lead single. And it's a good song. It's not the best song on the album. For me, it's not. There's a lot better songs coming, and there's possibly a lot worse songs coming. But this is a good song, but it's not one of those that, makes me just jump up and shout. But it's a good song. I like the way Paul sounds in it. You can start to hear he still sounds good, but not as good as Psycho Circus good. Right in the very opening line when he says, when I saw your face across the room, that when he says room, sounds a little strained. Like too many years of vocalizing is starting to take its toll. But I do like this song. It's got some good riffs to it, and I score this song a 6. So we're going to go on to track 2, first Gene song of the album, Russian Roulette.
This is Russian Roulette. One pull of a tree.
The Russian Roulette was written by Gene, sang by Gene. This song is based off of an earlier demo that Gene had written during the Asylum era. And I really like this song. I actually like this song better than Modern Day Delilah. I like the riff in it. I like that da-na-na-na-na-na and that Gene does. Some people think it's corny. But I just like the way Gene sings in this. That he's got that Gene attitude. Some ladies love me, some ladies don't. I just love the way he sings in this. And I just love, this is Russian Roulette. I love the chorus of this song. I like the verse of the song. I like the chorus of the song. I like the way Gene sounds in the song. So I rate this song a 7. So we'll move on to the next track on the album, track 3, Back to Paul for Never Enough.
Give me rules just for breaking, because it's never enough, never enough.
Never Enough was written by Paul and Tommy, and this is the 3rd single off the album. And some people claim that this song sounds a little bit too much like Poison's Nothing But a Good Time. And I definitely hear that. But I still like this song. I like the way the guitars on this album sounds. I love the part where he goes into, but I know what I'm doing, and I know what I want. And I love the chorus of this song too. I love it because it's never enough, never enough. I like this song. I like the verses, even though it's got that nothing but a good time, especially when he goes in that catch your breath or whatever, and it's like you hear that I'm always working, slaving, you hear that, but I try to put that out of my head because I really like this song, so I let it slide. So I score this song a 7 also. So now we're on to the next track. We're going to jump back to Gene for Yes I Know Nobody's Perfect.
No, nobody's perfect, but maybe I come awfully close.
This is written by Gene, sang by Gene, and this is a demo that was recycled back from the Asylum sessions. Good old Uncle Gene, he doesn't throw anything away. So, and I'm glad he doesn't, because he makes some really good songs out of his picking a song apart and taking this out of it, or, Frankensteining a song together. He does a really good job doing that. Yes, I Know Nobody's Perfect. I love this song. This is a great song too. Like I said, it's just that Gene just keeps delivering for me on this album to this point. And this is actually tied for another song on this album that's coming later for my favorite song on the album. This is one of my favorite songs, and it's tied with another one. So I really like this song. I just love the attitude that Gene has on this album. I just love, I know nobody's perfect. It has a very rock and roll over feel to it. Just a kind of an old rockabilly, flip a coin because it's heads or tails tonight. You can't bring this boy to his knees. I love the lyrics. If I'm going down in flames, baby, I'm going in style. I love this song. I love the attitude. So I scored an 8. So we're going to go to the next song, back to a Paul song, where's Tommy and Eric at? They're probably going to be on the B side. So we're going back to Paul for Stand.
Stand by my side, I'll be next to you when you need me.
This is written by Paul and Gene, and it was one of the songs that Gene mentioned very early on. He mentioned songs like Modern Day Delilah, and I believe Never Enough and Stand. I think that was 3 of the songs he mentioned very early on. And he describes this as a meat and potatoes kind of song. I like a lot of aspects of this song. I love it's Gene and Paul singing back and forward, you know. Oh yeah, I love when Gene does that, and you call my name, I'll see you through. You know, I like when Paul does that. And it's almost like this is a Gene and Paul song. It's almost like they're singing this song to each other. Stand by my side, I'll be next to you. But this is a good song, you know, to play for a friend or something. I know I'm sounding like a softie here, but it's a good song. I don't like it as much as I've liked some of the other songs. I like the part where they go into the a cappella kind of part, and then it goes into that. It's got that bluesy guitar solo before that. I really like this song. It kind of softens down a little bit. It's intended to be a little bit of a softer song. It's kind of ballsy for Kiss to do like this, something on an album like this. I think it is kind of a softer song, but I really like it. I scored a 6. Now for the next song, going back to Gene, Paul, Gene, Paul, Gene, Paul, Gene. Back to Gene for Hot and Cold.
Well, if it's too hot, you're too cold. If it's too loud, you're too...
Gene reworked part of his 1978 demo song, Rotten to the Core, for his solo album, his 1976 solo album. He has a song called Rotten to the Core. And I'm going to put that card here because I want you to hear this song. After the video, you can stop and go to it or whatever. I actually like the demo Rotten to the Core better than I do Hot and Cold. It's also one of the first songs that they wrote for the album along with Never Enough. But I like this song, but I scored a 5. It almost seems a little too sterilized, a little too calculated. If you listen to this song and then you listen to Gene's Rotten to the Core demo from his 76 solo album, man, that's a good song. And I wish he would have put it on his solo album. I would have liked his solo album a little more. So, but I scored this song a 5. So the next track, we finally get to an Eric Singer lead vocal, All for the Glory. Gene and Paul wrote this song for Eric, and they were attempting to write an anthem type song. And Paul had originally co-wrote a softer, kind of like Hard Luck Woman version type song with an outside writer back in 1989. And even Eric played on the demo of that song. But since there was an outside writer in the song, you know, in the original one that Paul was wanting to give to Eric, the producer, Greg Collins, he declined to do the song. And I wish they would have done that song because I hate this song. I hate All for the Glory. I cannot stand it. It is hands down, in my opinion, the worst track on the album. And if you like it, that's great. If you don't like some of these songs that I love, that's great too. We can still be friends and coexist in the Kiss universe. But this song is one of my most detested songs. I put it right there with Then She Kissed Me. You know, I can't stand this song. So I scored a 1. And it really hurts my score of the album. But I hate it that much. It gets skipped every single time. It's like, da-na-na-na-na-na, skip. You know, it doesn't even get 4 beats in. And it's done. So I skip to the next song, which is back to Paul for Danger Us. Now, this was written by Paul and sang by Paul, and Paul said this is one of the first songs that was written and the first song recorded for the album. And I love the I love the intro. Very much rock and roll over. Like I said, when it's funny. One thing that I didn't mention earlier when I was talking about the packaging is that this packaging here, does it look familiar? It might look a little bit like something like this. And the reason why, it was done by the same artist as this, Michael Durrett, the artist on both of these. So you see the resemblance between the two of them. I personally like this cover better than this one. But I digress. Because even though this song sounds a lot like a song that could have been on Rock and Roll Over, the riff of it, and even that the way Paul sings it, he gets to that part where he'd like the dynamite. He starts sounding like Maud, you know, grandma on the lawn telling you to get off her lawn. You know, he's stretching it, Paul. I don't like that. The title is cheesy. Danger you, danger me, danger us. Dangerous, danger us. Man, cool points lost. Big cool points lost. But other than Paul sounding like he's straining a little too much, and Dangerous as being the title of the song, I like the rest of it, so I scored a 4. So the next track, we're back to Gene again. Still waiting on that Tommy song. So we're back to Gene for I'm an Animal.
Made of fire, made of heat. I'm an animal, and I'm free.
So Paul, Gene, and Tommy, all three wrote this. And this song was made up of the origination of this song was a 1981 demo that Gene did called Feels Like Heaven. And I'll stick that card up here somewhere. I think it goes here. But Gene did a demo called Feels Like Heaven. And when you listen to it, it sounds nothing like this. It's got a hilarious line at the end of it. If you wait to the end of it to listen to it, it's hilarious. It's ended up on Peter's album, the 1982 Let Me Rock You album, which I will be reviewing in the future. I'm going to be reviewing all of the post-Kiss solo albums by Ace and Peter and Gene and Paul's solo albums that they've done, you know, outside of Kiss, just to let you know in the future. But this song sounds nothing like that. Not even Peter's version. Because basically what they did, I think they used essence of the song. And they made this I'm an Animal song. And this song is my second favorite song on the album. Because I just love the way Gene delivers this song. And I just love that, the riff, that it's very Black Sabbath. It's very just, it's a old 70s heavy metal kickback sound. And I was thrilled to hear Kiss sounding like this. Even if it does have Tommy and Eric in it, I was thrilled to hear Kiss sounding this way. And Gene just sounds good. I love the I'm alive in the streets. And that, at the very end, that I'm an animal and I'm free. And that scream he does at the end, primal scream he does, is just great. Just great. Second favorite song on the album, tied with Yes, I Know Nobody's Perfect. I scored this song an 8. So let's move on to the next to the last track. Holy crap, we finally get to the Tommy song. When Lightning Strikes.
When lightning strikes, how is the rain and thunder?
When Lightning Strikes was written by Tommy and Paul, sang by Tommy, and this was one of the early completed songs. Tommy started writing this song, and he was borrowing from AC/DC's Problem Child. He brought the idea to Paul for Paul to help him finish it up, but he didn't intend on singing it. I think he was going to let Paul sing it, but Gene and Paul wanted Tommy to sing it. So Tommy took the lead vocal on it, and it's reported that he sang the main lead vocal and recorded the main lead vocal in about 20 minutes. Now, this is actually a pretty good song. Like I said, I don't like the fact that they constantly with Tommy, they just try to rub it in your face that he's the spaceman and everything he does has to be about space or lightning or being shocked or whatever. You know, they do that again on Monster too. But Lightning Strikes, I like this song. Part of it, I know they said it came from the inspiration of Problem Child, but what I hear is during that I hear that song that Save My Life, I'm Going Down for the Last Time. I don't know who sings that song, but it's just that's who it sounds like to me. So that's what I hear. If I'm not hearing songs that are very heavily influenced by Rock and Roll Over or sound a lot like Rock and Roll Over, I hear or Poison, I hear that on this song, but I still like it. It's a good song, so I scored a 6. So that's going to bring us to the last track of the album, Say Yeah.
You say yeah. Say yeah.
So Paul wrote Say Yeah, and he sings it, and this was the second single from the album. And Paul says he knew that this song was going to be great as he was writing it. And he said that when he finished with it, that it turned out exactly as he wanted. And they included it on their set shortly after the album was released. And it's on their set now with the current End of the Road tour. It's a part of their set, and they use it as their crowd interaction song because they try to get the crowd to say yeah. Let me hear you say it. Say yeah. And this song's just always kind of fell flat for me. Other than and I know y'all, because I know some of y'all are big fans of this song. Y'all love Say Yeah. Y'all are loving that it's on the current tour. But this is probably my second least favorite song on the album. And I'm sorry if you really like it. I'm sorry. But it's my second least favorite song on the album with a 3. I score this one a 3. And I score All for the Glory a 1. But, it is what it is. There's parts of it I like. So anyway, my final thoughts on the album, on Sonic Boom. It's not a bad album. I don't hate it. I actually listen to it quite often. I probably listen to it maybe, I'll put it in my car one day out of the month, and I'll give it a solid spin that whole day. Whereas some Kiss albums, they'll stay in my CD player for 2 or 3 days, sometimes a week. Here a couple weeks ago, I jammed Paul Stanley's 1978 solo album for like Monday through Friday, going back and forward to work. That was what I listened to for the whole week. So I get in moods, and sometimes I listen to certain albums, and this one gets a spin about once a month. I don't hate it. My total score on this one, if you add everything up, and I'll put that up on the score here. But if you add all the songs up and the total score, that's a total score of 61. And if you divide that by 11 tracks, that's a 5.54. That's actually on the lower end of the spectrum. It knocks it down. I'll put this list up here of the scores of all the albums to this point. And it knocks it down there around, Gene Simmons and Peter Criss solo albums. But like I said, this is not one of my favorite Kiss albums. It's kind of low down on the list, but it's not my worst, least liked Kiss album either. And it does get stuck in the rotation quite a bit. And it's not because, I want to say this for those of you who are still watching, it's not because Eric and Tommy are on it. It has nothing to do with it. It's not because on the cover they have on the makeup. It's not because of that. I don't have a problem with Eric and Tommy as musicians. It's just the pick of the songs. Some songs I feel like, they just didn't jive well with me. So that's it. That's all I've got. If you like this video, be sure to click subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment down below. I'd like to hear your thoughts. What's your favorite song on this album? Do you like this album? Where is it in your scope of Kiss albums? What's your favorite song? What's your least favorite song? What's your general thoughts of this album? Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I like to know. Interact down there. I try to read the comments and I try to answer. So if you put a comment down there, you're very likely to get an answer by me or some kind of interaction with me. I like interacting with you guys, and I really appreciate you guys watching. I'm approaching 2,000 subscribers at the making of this video. I'm at around 1,600. And so I'm gaining, subscribers. So I'm approaching 2,000. My next my next number I want to get to. But yeah, so check out down in the description. Also check out my social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also here on YouTube. I put stuff on the community in there. I put little behind the scenes pictures if videos are coming up. So feel free to follow me and interact with me on those as well. I try to get back to you as best as I can. But for now, I'm Brant, then my head channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Some satisfaction. This mundane little life, a little turbo reaction, just to sustain my mind.